Yo soy Kutumi y fui encarnado como San Francisco de Asís, y os amo y os bendigo por siempre. Yo soy Kutumi y fui encarnado como San Francisco de Asís, y os amo y os bendigo por siempre.
Hail, daughters of freedom and sons of the Most High God. I am the goddess of liberty. I recognize my statue in New York Harbor with all its magnificence and its light pouring daily and flooding your world with cosmic light, the power of liberty's flame made manifest. Sacred is this gift given from the heart of France to the heart of America, sacred to all who behold this magnificence and this light. It is a focus for my cosmic protection, and it is a manifest token of the love of liberty to the very heart of America. Children of the sacred fire, do you have any feelings whatsoever when I call you children? Do you think when I say to you, you are children of God, that I am belittling you? I think not. I am honoring you. For when I call you children of God, that is the highest honor that anyone could ever bestow. For we ourselves, even in our octave of cosmic liberty, deem it a magnificent honor to be called a child of the Most High. So often, individuals on this planet lose their God liberty simply because of a trifle. I think it important that the mankind of earth cease to lose their liberty for trifles. I think it important that individuals learn to give power and precedence where power and precedence is due. As an august member of the Karmic Board, in all the power of Almighty God, I say the time has come when you must assert your cosmic independence upon God if you will have it. Do you think that we won our freedom in a Pollyanna manner? Do you think that we won our freedom because we thought perhaps it might be a nice thing to do or to have? We won our freedom because we loved that freedom more than anything else and desired it and wanted it more than anything else. The mankind of earth today are in pursuit of so many egocentric desires that they have failed to cognize the one central purpose for which this earth was brought forth. They have failed to recognize the one central purpose for which their own individual life streams were given power, consciousness, and endowed with life and the ability to cry and mean it, I am. Hearts of fire, I today am not recognizing your human elements as your cosmic mother. I am recognizing your cosmic elements. In the past, too much attention has been placed upon sickness, upon pain, upon recalcitrant substance, upon discord, upon inharmony, upon human effluvia. Karmic Board has often discussed this subject with one another, saying, how shall we awake the mankind of earth? How shall we create in them a new heart? How shall we bring forth a manifestation of cosmic freedom in their midst? The ascended hosts have poured their light out for many years to the earth. In fact, if you ponder the subject from the very beginning of time, Almighty God has held nothing but an immaculate concept for all His creation. And no matter how many idle and foolish statements men may make in their atheistic and their agnostic senses, and blame an unknowing cosmos for events which they themselves caused, it shall not affect the cosmos one jot or one tittle. It shall not turn one hair of your head black or white. It shall not produce 1 ounce of perfection. Perfection is only produced by the right use of life's energy and the power of heaven being appropriated upon earth. Someone once said in India to a chela to put their head under water and hold it under water. And if they held it under water for a long time, what would be the one thing they wanted most in life? And they answered air. And this great teacher said, when you want God, like you want air, you will have Him. Beloved hearts, pursuing false goals, seeking after human pleasure when it brings discord and despair to other parts of life, being immersed in sense consciousness and foolishness where it is hurting your soul's life, is not going to be the power that sets you free. I think Saint Germain has served this cause too long to deserve to be trifled with any further. I do not think, in the name of mercy, that individuals mean for one instant to trifle with the ascended host. It is not an intent of the heart. It is a merry-go-round. They are caught up, as it were, upon this merry-go-round of life, and because it never seems to stop, they do not know how to get off. Today, of all the graces and gifts that I would bestow upon individuals. It is the knowing how to get off of the merry-go-round, that they might be able to let the wheel of the law act in their life and find their own God freedom and victory such as we have. As your cosmic mother, I can only hope for the best in you. I can only hope for the upraising and upbuilding of the good individually in your life streams and the life streams of everyone on earth. There is a collective good manifest through nations and groups. For this too I hope and we hope. Your America has a heart. India has a heart. Every nation has a heart. Devas of the sacred fire and protectors and guardians of every nation are over those nations. And the action of the sacred fire is a constant and continual one. If I seem a bit stern today, I want you to realize in God's name that I am speaking to you as a cosmic mother. My energies are not easily tempered. For many years I am accustomed to speaking with authority before the karmic board, and they look to me with great hope. I am very much linked with beloved victory, and I cannot brook the continual interference of human nonsense with the plan of the Almighty God. Oh, I have tempered my consciousness often with the qualities of Kuan Yin. I have often clothed myself with the flame of cosmic mercy, but there are times when those I love I chastise. Only that greater good come into manifestation everywhere in their lives. When you look at my torch, and I call it mine, in New York Harbor, is it not a high and lovely standard, beloved heart? I think it most interesting. And at this point, I would like to say one word to the re-embodiment of Count Rochambeau. Remember, beloved heart, always, discretion is the best part of valor. Beloved ones of the light, I flood forth cosmic liberty this day into your heart. The liberty which I flood forth is a tangible reality. It does not, it cannot, it never can be requalified by human energy. And therefore, keep your standard high if you would enter my world. Except between embodiments, when individuals are brought, I hope without fear, into the halls of karma, they seldom ascend to our level. Perhaps this is good, and yet today I am going to say to you a few words about this subject. Any of you who have a curiosity to see the halls of karma and judgment, I will even permit that. Perhaps if you did attend a session in the halls of karma and divine judgment, you might understand a great deal more about the control of your own energy. I have observed physical deformity. I have observed individuals with crooked spines. I have observed individuals with a warped consciousness. This, of course, is in the human level. Never, never have I looked, even for an instant, and beheld this without a feeling of infinite compassion. It is as though I would take my heart of heaven out and give up all the glory of our octave, and with Kuan Yin descend to earth and embrace each heart. I would hold the body of a crippled child in my arms, and I would pour my life into one crippled child and restore it to its natural form. But, beloved ones, because the causes are in the octave of earth, this manifestation would occur again and again unless the causes and cores are removed and transmuted. Only by cosmic independence, only by contact with the great God source and Christ of life can perfect healings be produced and sustained. When men cry, "It is enough," give us light, give us liberty, give us glory. As I spoke in my pearl this very week, when men learn to say, as the patriot of old in America, "Give me liberty or give me death," then will the choice be made and their freedom be attained. Meanwhile, as this blessed convocation comes to a close, remember that in me you have a high and holy friend, a friend who holds a standard for you, not an unimmaculate concept, but an immaculate one, a perfect ideal, to which one day the aspirations of men shall be unified and drawn, and when all shall magnetize their own cosmic liberty, then will the ascended master nation, for which Saint Germain has called for so long, come into manifestation here, and your hearts, hearts of fire, shall be one with the ascended, the angelic host, and no more discord shall ever manifest upon this planet. I am gently now enfolding this assembly in the folds of my great robe of light. I am now, as a mother of light, removing every thorn or every sting from your heart which my words might have brought. I ask you to have no self-condemnation, but only a self-aspiration. I ask you to lift your consciousness to my torch of light in the eternal heavens. I ask you to value liberty almost more than life, for without liberty, life is not meaningful. I would have life be so full of richness and meaning that the elements, the angelic host, the entire hierarchy of the universe would be one great brotherhood of cosmic unity. Because this day means so much to all, to the eternal Father whose love created this in such hope, I speak to you today saying, take my flame from my torch, take it and put it within your own heart, hold it there, treasure it there as a sacred jewel. Go forth among men and spread the desire for liberty and God freedom, and you shall be performing the work of Saint Germain and the ascended host as my emissary. And then someday you may stand with me in actual embrace, and I shall clasp the hands of every one of you and remind that this day in 1960 in your own city and in the city of New York, in the United States of America, I, the goddess of liberty, spoke to you words of love, some chastisement, and inspiration, because, and only because, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I am forevermore your mother of light. As one of the 12 beings from the great sun, I now make an invocation to the universe for the sustaining of the planet Earth until the manifestation of the golden age, now so rapidly approaching. In the name of light, in the name of the eternal Spirit, in the name of light, in the name of love, I call to thee, Alpha and Omega, in the great central sun. Do thou perform this act in thy holy name, thou great I am. Enfold this earth and all its evolutions in such an outpouring of the cosmic flame of liberty that never again shall it be able to hold the type of concept which some men have held. Cut this earth free in thy eternal name from human discord and effluvia, and flood this earth each day, until the opening in and ushering in of the fullness of the golden age with the substance of thy eternal flame of God glory, God perfection, and God life made manifest. As you go to your home, remember you have a cosmic home. You have a cosmic home, and there burns a fire to warm and revivify each one of you, to wipe away tears from the eyes of each one of you, to give sustenance and substance to each one of you, to remove pain, fatigue, and limitation from all. You have a cosmic home that belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. Enter thou, my children, God's children, into the joy of thy Lord. This is not strange. There is nothing strange in my speaking to you today. Mankind has for so long qualified their life with an understanding of what is real and what is not real, that much of which is not real is accepted by them as real, and that which is so unreal, which is such a delusion, that they have accepted as reality. Accept now then today your divine reality. Accept the arms of a cosmic mother as she holds them out to you, and know me as friend, counselor, inspirer, and guardian protector of America, the nations of the world, and life everlasting. I thank you with my love. I enfold you with my light. I am your light. Good afternoon. now, as beloved Kuan Yin speaks her words to us from the very life of her being, let us reverently open the soft petals of our heart's consciousness to receive her light and love. In the elder days of art, builders wrought with greatest care. Beloved children of the light everywhere, I salute you in the name of cosmic mercy, and I would draw aside a portion of the veil of history that I might reveal to you that which some of you are familiar with, namely the sacred temples of the land which I loved so well, my own beloved China, and the lands of the Orient. I can well remember when an embodiment there, the golden domes of some of those magnificent temples. I remember those faces so different than the faces of most of the individuals embodied in America, those round faces, with their eyes turned up, as it were, in a measure of oriental beauty. And I remember childish voices and glad hands held together as little children with little tiny golden slippers on their feet would enter into these magnificent temples with God happiness and a feeling of lightness of spirit. Those were the golden days of my country, of China, an era forgotten through the mistiness of time, even by the people of China, a land now held in the grip of mankind's own fury and unleashed dominance through the power of world communism. Beloved ones of the light, how grateful ought you to be that the flag of freedom still flies in this land of yours, which is our land. How grateful ought your hearts to be that the cosmic mercy, thanks to the ministry of beloved Saint Germain, has permitted a continuation of freedom's beat through your great nation. This did not happen by accident, for wishful thinking will not produce a great deal of the desires of men, but a forthright action and often the cooperation of heaven is so necessary in producing and sustaining any design, whether it be of cosmic beauty or even of material elements. Beloved ones, I think that it almost goes without saying that I would almost pledge the troth of my ascension and return to earth again if the cosmic law permitted, if I could only free my people in China. This is a very desperate situation. These communes in which the lives of young children are actually held bound by the power of a state, and a godless state at that, so lacking in culture, yet seeking for material accomplishment, like unto so many even in America, is a very sad thing indeed. Not a hopeless one, however, for the powers of heaven, when they are shaken, are able to produce cosmic miracles of perfection. And therefore I think that far more impregnable even than Chiang Kai-shek or the legions of the Chinese people on Formosa is the powers of heaven, and a greater deterrent to the domination of the human spirit by mankind, in whom there is only an atheistic spirit in manifestation. The spirit of atheism is truly a great pity. It is almost as if someone had the power to draw a great curtain across the face of the sun. For if a great curtain were drawn across the face of the sun, it would be but a few short years before all light would pass from this planet. I realize that some might be able to endure through modern conveniences for a few months. But without the light of the sun, no life could exist for a very long time. Therefore, I say to you, it is so important, so very important to realize that atheism, communism, and these godless forces which have seized the minds of men, with world ideologies having some measure of sense because of man's senselessness, are to be broken. It must be broken by the power of God. Atheism of itself does not acknowledge God's power, and therefore it shuts off the flow of the divine light from men's lives. It has been demonstrated in Russia that communism cannot completely dim or shut off the flow of divine feelings in the hearts of the people. And so there, in that land, even to the present time, the rulers have been unsuccessful in stamping out feelings of religion, even in that nation, to their dismay and to their surprise. I ask that all of you take a little more cognizance of your blessings than you have in the past recognized. I ask that you intensify your feelings of gratitude for your own beloved country, both America and Canada, and realize that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, and therefore do include the people of the land of China and the enslaved peoples of the world in your calls daily. Do not be satisfied to make these calls weekly. Make these calls with the strength of your light. It is not always necessary that they be shouted from the housetops. This may be quiet, but it is an intense focus of your love and your calls to heaven's heart, knowing that mercy shall answer you, that shall produce the result, giving us the authority to act in your world. Many of the people who dwelled in China long years ago, when I was actually in physical embodiment, are now present in America. Some remain in the land of China. Nevertheless, I cannot help, as the goddess of mercy, but retaining some feelings, even through the veil, as it were, of light, which has taken place in my ascension, and I cannot help but send rays of light down into that nation and into every nation of the world, desiring that the hearts of the people might be cut free from all discordant manifestations. Mercy is a very precious gift of God. As a member of the Karmic Board, I am sure most of you can appreciate my position. Constantly petitions and decrees come to me, some asking for a release from a condition of health which has troubled them, others asking for help for a loved one. Many of these requests are very personal requests, and some of them are for the world order of things. All of them do, of course, in the name of mercy, receive our attention. How could we deny the heart cries of God's children anywhere? Your beloved Shakespeare, beloved Saint Germain, said long ago, "The quality of mercy is not strange. It droppeth from heaven as the gentle rain upon the earth beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him who gives and him who takes and receives." Therefore, never, 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 I say, in all eternity, is there an error made by a life stream who is merciful to another part of life. Hardness of heart, hardness in the feeling world generated toward a part of life is the most effective screen in the cosmos to prevent the blessings of God from flowing forth into manifestation. Any number of individuals have only one individual upon this planet that they will not forgive. And because of that one individual whom they will not forgive, they are unable to receive a tremendous release of life's blessings. Therefore, the divine catharsis of absolute forgiveness, and I do not say acceptance of domination by another life stream, is so important. I tell you, mankind gives the greatest of power to other parts of life when they have feelings of discord against those parts of life. These feelings of discord are effective in linking and connecting them with the very part of life from whom they would escape. Is this then the part of wisdom? I think not. I think that those hearts who love me and love the hosts of heaven and want to be free will recognize that the law of the cosmos cannot be betrayed. It cannot even be betrayed by a kiss, because the Master ever knows the motive in the heart of every Chela, and there is not a life stream in this room or the world with which the karmic board is not familiar. We know and are able to weigh when beloved Portia in the great halls of karma stands beside me and a life stream produces a petition. The great cosmic scales of justice swing forth, and the petition is weighed. All of the evidence is considered and pondered, and if you think the action of the Supreme Court of the United States or the Court of the World at The Hague is cogent in manifestation and thought, you ought to be present in the halls of karma when individuals make their cosmic petitions. I tell you, the goddess of opportunity and justice weighs each one, and every member of the karmic board, the great divine director, myself, the goddess of liberty, we all take into account the request. Mercy is always considered, you know. There is never a moment when mercy is not present. Some life streams then ask, if mercy be present, why? Why was not my request or my plea granted? Let me say this, O hearts. There are times when the cosmic law demands a certain event to take place. In such cases, of course, mercy cannot enter in. The law must act. This is because the greater law is in action. There are other times when it is not so important, and cosmic affairs do not enter in, and of course we are able to mitigate. Always, however, always, in every case, the best and the highest good of each life stream is considered with a deliberation worthy of heaven's hosts. Realize, hearts of earth, that the karmic board receives and derives their power not from the consent of the governed, but from the Father, the governor of all life. Therefore, we act in His name and with His qualities. Do you see? I, Kuan Yin, have this to say now, not only to those in this room, but to all life upon this planet. As you have been told previously, the cosmic hour has struck, and therefore I visualize now in my divine consciousness for the earth a great golden lotus of light, a magnificent golden lotus. This lotus has a base that streams out 10,000 miles in space, and your earth at this moment is resting gently in the very center of this lotus of golden fire. I am flooding mercy and illumination to this planet. Around this earth, the flames of the sacred fire lotus are blazing up into the atmosphere 25,000 miles. And the God mercy released this day to the mankind of earth shall be so effective that it shall assist in producing the golden age. Not without reason did your Saint Germain make the statement that the quality of mercy is not strained. Not without reason did I speak this day in New York. Not without reason, and a cosmic reason at that, did all of the hierarchy of heaven produce the sacred convocation of hearts. You may say, there are only a few souls here, less than 100, in physical manifestation. Yes, but remember the words of the most beloved Jesus, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Remember those words. Love those words. They are truth. Remember also these words, that one righteous man is able to put 10,000 unrighteous and more to flight. Remember Elijah, the prophet, how he prayed, and it rained not upon the earth for a long period. And then again he prayed, and the rains came. The power of mercy, the power of the release of the sacred fire, the power of the love of God is a precious thing, a gift so sacred, so loving, that it is to be esteemed far beyond mere jewels of physical adornment, beautiful though they may be. I am charging every jewel in this room, worn by every lady and gentleman, with mercy's love this day. This action I cannot take place outside of this force field for various reasons, but I am specifically charging every jewel which is in this room, whether it be imitation or genuine, with my radiance. I have, as a member of the karmic board, the power to do this, and this I am doing. Therefore, these jewels which you wear today will have and retain a certain sacred quality of mercy. And whenever at any time your hearts feel a need to have a greater measure of my mercy, if you will hold those jewels in your right hand and call to me, I promise you I will flood you with that same cosmic mercy with which I am now flooding you. God bless you, O hearts of America and hearts of people through the city of New York. Continue your ministrations in this sanctuary and everywhere where the light of God is radiating. Remember, you are his children, as are all men, and the day shall come when all men shall know the truth, that the truth of love and forgiveness may make them free, as I am. As a cosmic mother of mercy's flame, I take my leave of you now, because into your midst has come a very magnificent being, one to whom I also bow, a sister member of the karmic board, a heart of love and compassion like Saint Germain's, the mother of Paolo Veronese, Paul the Venetian master, the goddess of liberty. Salute her heart's light and love as she speaks. Thank you. Always remember I love you, and good afternoon.
Divina
sons and daughters of Christ's liberty. Earth has no sorrow that love cannot heal. The action of the healing flame is an action of divine love. The action of all the sacred flames of the sacred fire is a manifestation of divine love and of divine beauty. In coming into your lovely temple this morning and beholding your hearts so hallowed because they are so charged with the sacred fire, I first ask and request that 12 magnificent angel devas from the music temples come and abide here and pour their celestial harmonies and radiance through this physical temple and through your worlds while I speak to you. May their anthems and their radiance make a melody out of my words, which shall linger long in your memory and bring you a greater realization from day to day of the power of love. Love is of Christ. It is of your holy Christ self. And if you stop and consider for a moment, many times when you are disturbed, that somewhere between your God presence and your physical form there dwells a magnificent Christ being with a robe of righteousness and the right use of God's divine powers, it will help you to hold to an immaculate concept of saying to yourself, this which I do is that which my Christ self would do, and therefore I am a being of divine love. A being of divine love will act in a manner in keeping with that love. I would give you this morning my understanding of a very simple word, and this too I pray that you shall not forget. The word is of, O-F. Many of you do not know the full science of even the English language, and this is understandable. Of can be spelled many ways, perhaps, O-F or O-V, but it is the sound or pronunciation which is important. Love and of are truly simultaneous, yet this has not been realized by many people. For example, when you say the King of France, you say the King loves France. And this is the proper understanding of the simple word of. When you say the Son of God, it is one thing. But when you say the Son of Man, then you say the Son loves man. I am sure you see this, and you will realize that in the simple connecting words, oftentimes great manifestations are possible. You see, beloved hearts, all things do have their center and source in love. It is much more than just a word. It is a radiance, and it has been well said that God is love. There are a few issues today which I would clarify for the sons and daughters of freedom. Much misunderstanding has existed down through the centuries concerning the great white brotherhood. The name, like so many other words, has become somewhat bandied about. And in that disciplinarian sense, I would give you your God liberty this day by speaking some words concerning the great white brotherhood. The great white brotherhood, as you know, that is, as most of you know, has no connection with any race. It is a term which is sacred and comes from the sacred white fire. The great refers to the fact that it is a magnificent cosmic action. White refers to the fact that it manifests all the colors and radiance of Almighty God. If you will, the full rainbow which the master painter uses to actually create his beauty on the canvas of eternity. Therefore, white is symbolical of God purity, of God unity, of wholeness, of oneness. Micah, the angel of unity, has joined me here as I speak to you because of the very fact that I mentioned the word unity. Therefore, I think you will find it somewhat interesting to see how magnificent our cooperation is. Beloved ones, the great white brotherhood is also a brotherhood. Now, a brotherhood does indeed have this sense and feeling of one for all and all for one. It is somewhat impossible for a brother of the fire of God to have feelings generated within their consciousness which do not come to a state of concord and unity. And therefore, those who would manifest the spirit of the great white brotherhood cannot do otherwise than to love, remembering their source, that they are of God, which means that they therefore love God. Do you see? This is most simple, and yet in simplicity the greatest profundities of the universe are made manifest. It would be a very simple thing for most of us of the ascended realm, having a great vocabulary and command of thought and feeling, to speak words so far over your head, shall we say, in many cases, that individuals in the audience would not even be able to understand or cognize just what we are talking about. Therefore, it is quite our manner and usual that we speak somewhat in simplicity and clothe our thoughts, which are often profound, with simple expressions so that you may remember them and therefore derive benefit and value from them. Many people enjoy going to hear a good speech or a sermon, and this is also quite natural for mankind. What we say to you today and at every one of these meetings is spoken for your soul's good and for the healing of all the hurt of mankind. Limitation, regardless of what type of limitation it is not the intention of the Infinite Father, who holds within his hand a cornucopia of cosmic abundance. The first secret to abundance is love. Realizing that you are of the source, you are logically and rightly entitled to the glory of your Father. When you do not manifest or express the glory of your Father in any way, this ought not to become a reason for distress, but I can well understand why it does in your own particular world. However, I wish to give you this encouragement today, that the power of infinite love and brotherhood and light is all within the name, the great white brotherhood. This is not something that can be appropriated by any outer exoteric organization. Down through the centuries, we have, in the name of the Infinite Father, created and sustained various endeavors, which were created and sustained entirely for the sake of the release of divine illumination to mankind. The reason why we released illumination and love to mankind was to bring them back to a knowledge of their source, and simply put, remove the spheres of limitation and the consciousness of limitation from their worlds and consciousness. However, through distortion, through commercialization, through greed, which is focused in individual worlds of mankind, often some of our endeavors fell into disrepute, not because of any lack of love or compassion on our part, but because the consciousness of mankind became like a muddied river, and someone poured the silt from the bank into the clear crystal waters of our outpouring. I am sure that most of you will realize this was certainly not the intention of the Infinite Father, neither was it the intention of the Great White Brotherhood nor the hierarchy of heaven. However, unfortunately, it seems many of mankind once they revolve their consciousness in mud and discord, are unable to wash themselves clean and free from it. It is as though it becomes caked upon their hands and enters into their pores. However, today, I would like to speak words of healing, to remove from the consciousness of our chelas, at least, any sense of immersion, as it were, in human discord. I would like to remove the effect of this muddied water which has been poured forth to all who are athirst, that they might drink and find their eternal freedom. Therefore I say that no exoteric organization has ever had the right to make the statement that they are the official channel of the Great White Brotherhood. It is true that the Great White Brotherhood does sponsor various organizations for the purposes of divine love and eternal salvation to mankind and the raising of this sweet earth. But no one has ever been empowered to declare that they are the only channel of our light. How could this be, seeing that the hearts of mankind are ever contrite throughout the world? Many of you are familiar with the beautiful painting of the Angelus. You perhaps have stood at times and observed the peasants as they bow their head when the hour of prayer comes. You have perhaps felt and sensed this great awe and this reverence. I, of course, admire paintings because in my embodiment as Paulo Veronese, I was able to draw forth from the heart of God much of the beauty and capture it upon canvas for mankind. Therefore, I say to you today that in this painting of the Angelus there is a very great beauty. Some may term it a peasant beauty. This is because it is simple. Its thought is simple, but it reaches the heart, and love reaches the heart. Therefore, in the contemplation of this painting of the Angelus, you are able to almost hear the tolling of the bell as it calls mankind to a solemn hour of prayer. This occurs across the vast expanse of the world. For example, over in Europe, a great center of culture and light, in times past and even to the present time, there is still a great residue remaining. Many of the people of Europe have a different understanding than the people of America, yet they are children of God. And therefore, they bow their heads in prayer. They bow their consciousness to the light. They may not have the same degree of intellectual comprehension which many of you have, or the same opportunities even to partake of the same bread which you break. This does not matter. They are grateful to an infinite Father for his divine capacities and outpourings to their particular life streams, and they express that gratitude. Think you then that these are less than the masters of the Great White Brotherhood because they stand on the fields of earth and take a simple instrument perhaps and till the ground? Think you that those who still use the ox cart are less the children of God than those who use a McCormick deer reaper? I tell you, children of God, the wonders of this century, the mechanization of America, the spread of the light across America from the east to the west, the great caravan sweeping across the nation, these have been very wonderful, and they have brought a wealth of abundance and happiness to your land, because it is our land. But today, throughout the world, there still exist many cultures which are quite primitive beside of America. There is no need for the rest of the world to be jealous of America, neither is there any need for America to raise her head in a false sense of pride. Those who loved America when she was founded in the early days of the history of this great nation, they loved her with the love of the simple peasant, and they were not immersed in many things which today distract the attention of mankind and take them away from the simplicity and the God beauty of life. This is a misfortune we would speedily correct. Culture is not something which mankind can communicate and purchase with money. You cannot buy culture with dollars. You cannot acquire culture merely by attending a church of your choice. You do not acquire culture by merely reading a book. culture is acquired within the heart and feeling and thinking world of mankind as it applies itself to its source and realizes the simple meaning of the word of, knowing that it came from God and is of God and therefore loves God. The great white brotherhood, forthright, honorable, divine, inspired and inspiring, is an organization which any man or woman or child might enjoy being a member of. There are no dues or fees or assessments against those who serve the great white brotherhood, except the type of assessment which is freely given to God as Christ Jesus gave his great light in Gethsemane and poured out his heart with folded hands, saying, Father, not my will. Therefore I say to you, in this day and age it is proper and fitting that mankind should have an understanding of the great white brotherhood, that they should understand that its members are often found in every walk of life. These members do not go around and prate and declare that they are members of the great white brotherhood. This is a secret and high calling of the heart. Its members recognize each other not by outer symbols, but by the inner light which is within the heart of every God being who will petition for entrance to that sacred and august body. From the Chateau de Liberty today, as I am speaking to you to clarify in part some of these issues, I trust that further meditation by you individually will disclose to you in the privacy of your own rooms and sanctuaries a greater understanding of the meaning of the great white brotherhood. I trust that you will realize that our solemn and silent assemblies, to which many of you have been invited to and have partaken of during the hours of sleep, will become more sacred to you, and that you will cease to be annoyed by trifles in consciousness. We perhaps may demonstrate to you some impatience with mankind's foibles, and this is true, but it is explained quite simply. Most of us who have made our ascension were perhaps a bit more diligent than some who have not made their ascension. We were more dedicated, and this is fact, not fiction. Because of our greater dedication, we made our ascension somewhat earlier. We do not say this with a sense of pride. It is a fact. And therefore, because of that, you see, we perhaps have not acquired the same patience that some of you have who have dallied a little longer in human consciousness. This is not, however, an excuse, and I shall not say that I condone it. I only charge you with the love of heaven to love your God self more and to forget your puny physical accomplishments and try to remember that a true culture is that which is drawn forth through the sacred fires of the heart and magnetized by divine love. It is not something which you yourselves desire to have that you might express egotistically your own outer accomplishments, but something which you might draw forth and magnetize through the sacred fires of your heart, that you might cut yourself free forever from the ego and its desire to exalt itself above its fellow men, that you might instead consider and ponder this sacred gift and use it wisely and well. This day, if there is anything that I could give to you in the name of divine love, it is to free you from your ego, which, I am sorry to say, has often been like a great and heavy weight upon the shoulders, bending the backs of mankind and causing them to stoop toward the earth when their heads should have been lifted up to the heavens from whence they came. Those who came from Venus, and there are some in this audience, are perhaps able to get a little better sense of the supreme radiance of God because of the great love which comes from the planet Venus and from beloved Sanat Kumara, its magnificent friend of light, who so long served this planet. There is one other subject particularly which I wish to touch upon before I take my leave of you. That subject concerns the second coming of the beloved Master Jesus the Christ. This is another subject which the mankind of earth do not fully understand or comprehend. It is true that some men do, and it has something to do also with climaxes. Most of you, if you stop and think, will also see in the word climax a very great, a very magnificent idea embodied there. Climax comes from the word, in a sense, to climb or to rise, and it denotes that one has risen to a certain point of accomplishment where a great action is completed. When that action is completed, it does not mean that all life ceases because that action has been completed. Many individuals have felt that life is actually built up from a beginning and moves toward a final climax. They do not realize its eternal values. And therefore these look for an outer expression or manifestation of the ascended Master Jesus, that he shall come in clouds with a great climactic situation developing, where some individuals will be raised up and actually float up in the air somewhat as a balloon to rise to meet the Christ upon this cloud, and then shall go to some vague and vapory heaven, which unfortunately they are not able to tell us where this particular sphere is. Beloved ones, in clarification thereof, I want to point out one thing. I do not intend to completely describe this situation to you. I merely hint that you might be able, through your own God presence, to develop still further the ideas which I am trying by radiation to convey to you. Are you not all Christ's, in the sense that God has planted within you a dependence on him, the Father? If you are dependent upon God the Father for your source, for your life, for your being, then, beloved hearts, you must continue to depend upon this great God. And you must recognize that you too, with Christ Jesus, are a son and daughter of God. When the light manifests in you as it did in him, then remember that the same Christ manifestation has occurred, and he too then manifests through you in the same manner. This is done often in the twinkling of an eye, in a moment, and you are often caught up thereby in clouds of glory. We try to illustrate some of these facts in our magnificent paintings at inner levels. Those who are able to actually leave their physical forms and arise to our level are able to behold this magnificence in our sacred temples. This day, this Independence Day in the year 1960, I, Paul the Venetian, have desired and striven to give you of my love, to give you the love of God, and to tell you the meaning of love is that you are of God. The use you make of my energy, which I have released, the use you make of our God radiance, which we have given you this day, is dependent on you, but you are dependent on God. Honor your country. Honor its purity. Honor the will of God as it manifests through this blue field, symbolic of the canopy of heaven. Honor the star, symbolical of the Christ radiance which shines in every heart. Honor every flag of every nation that is constructed, for all are one in one great unity of action. And the time has certainly arrived and is somewhat overdue when the great white brotherhood should be able to draw the hearts of men to a focus where those men might be able to work together as friends, placing shoulders to the wheel of Almighty God in the great scheme of world Dharma, until we can manifest that brotherhood in action here, which exists so beautifully, so lovely, so magnificently in our octave. Angel devas from the music temples, pour now the celestial chorus of heaven through the inner consciousness and feeling worlds of these precious souls, and let its radiance flood the city of New York. As we cleared the atmosphere of this city by this tremendous outpouring of activity last night in the downpouring rain, so may the latter rain of heaven pour upon the hearts of men and flood them with love, removing from them the desire and the consciousness of mere bohemianism, but may they learn the meaning of true culture, true art, true progress, to be true Americans, true ever to the I Am race, true ever to the great white brotherhood, true chelas of the ascended masters, and in the due process of time, ascended God-free beings, even as I, Paul, am. May God, the infinite Father, seal you in his heart of light and love. May his eternal love and the love of the angelic host bless you and keep you confident in the arms of the eternal Father until the great master, artist of all eternity, produces on the individualized canvases of your consciousness the beauty, magnificent, and eternal love and light which he, the Father, is and was from the beginning of time. Thank you. Bless you. Good afternoon.
Power that flows from your heart.
Peace be unto you, children of the one God. I am once again come into your midst, bringing the radiation of the angelic host and the God magnificence of heaven's octave, very close to those hearts whose love has invoked my presence. I think you will find it very simple and easy to accept this idea that I am ever present wherever love is. As the most sacred flowers adorn the altars of earth's children, so is my love an ever-present symbol where there is a unity of the divine family made manifest around the hearthside of the many homes in many lands. I too, like all of you, have had embodiments of varying experiences. My novitiate in the service of Almighty God has not been without vicissitudes. I can well understand the meaning and the need of compassion. Compassion, beloved hearts, is so necessary in your relationships with all mankind. It is a very easy thing to have one's feeling world disturbed. You have but to turn to the pages of biblical history, and there you will see that many disturbing situations occurred in the lives of the ancient patriarchs and those blessed souls who sought the way back to the Father's home. When beloved Jesus grew up in our home, it was a great privilege merely to have him there. But, beloved ones, this is the attitude and the correct attitude for every parent to feel, that it is a privilege to have their children in their homes. The uniqueness of the experience of being the mother of Jesus is truly not necessarily unique. For every mother can magnetize the same gifts for her child, which I did for beloved Jesus, if she will. Many individuals shut off their own God-good from flowing into their world by inferior feelings and feelings of a substandard level. This is so easy to do, precious hearts. It is just so easy for you to be able to have the feeling that you do not quite measure up to my consciousness. I can understand that now in relation to an unascended being and an ascended one. But I assure you that our love is an unconditioned love. Our feelings for you and all life everywhere are benign and kindly, drawing men up and healing their wounds. If beloved Jesus came to me as a small child and he had been wandering about in bramble bushes and thorns would pierce his feet so prematurely, I would remove those thorns, and I would remove the thorns of life from the pathway of men today with as much happiness as I served my own son in that segment of history. One of the great mistakes which the mankind of earth make is the idea of saying over and over again, if I had only lived in those days, I would have been privileged to have walked beside the Master. And then perhaps, through holding his hand, observing the events of his life as he toiled among men in the Father's vineyard, I would perhaps have been a saint. I smile in a way at this and know that you forgive me, because there have been so many saints since those days, not only in the Christian era and in the Christian faith, but in the land of India and other parts of the world. Saints are not unique, beloved hearts. It is merely an example of drawing forth enough love until human pulls and desires do not take precedence and are not placed first on the altar of your life. This is difficult because mankind are surrounded by so many trees bearing so much fruit which is undesirable. They find it very difficult to reach out their hand and take of the fruit of the tree of life because of the allures, the apparent glories of temporal achievement. Also, it is so necessary that men do not fall into the pit of feeling that life itself must be austere. Many of the blessed saints, down through the Christian era to the present time, have found it necessary through great austerity to bring about their approach to God. Some have been very happy saints, and I am glad when I see there is no great tear or pull upon the life. For with some it has been almost a rending of the tissues of life, and there is so much strain. As a cosmic mother, I long to take away this sense of struggle in spiritual accomplishments. I long to take my robe and wrap it around the consciousness of men and women and seal them in the flame of my heart's love, so that they might come to a realization of heaven's reality and know that God, who is all love and whose love permeates the universe and every cell of creation, is really to be approached with happiness, with peace, and with grace. The struggle, of course, comes on the periphery of life, the battleground, the Armageddon, and the countless, ceaseless struggles which make of life oftentimes a jungle in appearance, whereas it should be a garden. This point I would amplify. I would that men would realize that Eden was a state of consciousness which, as a cosmic mother, I would men would once again enter into, to be drawn out of the world of experience would not necessarily serve to illumine men, and for this cause so many are continually returned to re-embodiment, once again taking on forms which are broken, and then taking on more forms which are broken, while the round is ceaselessly repeated so unnecessarily. Re-embodiment is a boon, a blessing, but men have made it anything but a blessing, because they have made it a great struggle. They have failed to realize the pull of the heart of creation upon their life and their divine sonship. Hail, beautiful spirits, I see you as I see the members of the angelic kingdom. There are times that I like to look at you without your physical form, I like to see you in your Christ magnificence. For a long time, a very long time, I have thought of all of you in the magnificence of your holy Christ self. Some of you may say, with you, Mother Mary, holding the Immaculate Concept for us, it seems to us we ought by now to have manifested greater perfection than that which we do. I want to tell you as I draw you into my heart today that this is part of the plan. Time itself is like a river. It flows on and on, just like the River Jordan, as the rivers that flowed through the Garden of Eden, as the River Ganges in India, as the many rivers of the world, the Amazon in South America. Time flows on ceaselessly. You, as part of God's heart, are moving in this stream of time. Your perfection is ever present, but it is necessary that you have experiences until such a time as your human creation is transmuted. Some of you try to swim against the currents of life, and as you swim against the currents, your progress becomes difficult. However, when you shall go with the current, shall make your calls to us and raise your hands out of the water of time into our eternal realm and hold on to our hands, you shall be pulled through this river of time with a much greater speed. It is within heaven's prerogative to shorten the time and give men their ascension much earlier than they ordinarily would have it otherwise. This is the law of the violet fire. Through a constant use of the violet fire, be a garden. This morning, beloved hearts, so many places throughout the world, prayers were raised up to God and to me. I want you to know that it is a very beautiful and lovely thing to behold these prayers like shafts of glorious, dazzling, golden light burst from the heart of the children of men like a nova or a new star. There is truly a perpetual novena maintained to me, and I want you to know that I, as a cosmic mother, reply in kind no matter where on earth men call to me. Ships at sea, sailors at sea, men going down in the currents have called to me, and the angelic host. Some of them we have found it necessary to lift and to raise and to save physically. Others, for various cosmic reasons, we only could lift up into our realm of light. Nonetheless, none of them were turned away empty-handed, for to all we give our love and our assistance. It is a natural thing that those who draw close to God will find that God draws close to them. And so it is with me and with others of the ascended host. When men and women draw close to me, I likewise envelop them. There is a great cosmic law, and I am sure most of you realize it. Even an ascended being, least of all, does not desire to tread where men have not invited them. It is not our wish to intrude ourselves and expect hospitality where hospitality is not given. If I have not played an important part in your life, and you would like my assistance, why do you not call to me often? And see if God, your own God presence, will not open for you a window in heaven through which my light and love, the love of a cosmic mother, will pass through. At this time I would like to call your attention to some of the words of beloved Maria, who spoke to you so much of this great cosmic unity. Beloved Maria is so desirous, as are all the hosts of heaven, of achieving a unity which will make possible a forthright action by the hosts of heaven and the hierarchy of heaven, by the spirit of the great white brotherhood, which will invest each of you with a cosmic robe of righteousness and the right use of life's powers, which will clothe you with your own Christ consciousness and keep you always, morning, noon, and night, in your own immaculate Christ conception. When this is brought about, it will be the production of a divine man-child, and as each one is born, each man-child upon earth, who bears the Christ image in his outer expression, even as he does, or she does, in their heart, then at that precise instant the angels of heaven chorus in beautiful and exquisite melodies. You must stop for a moment and think, if I, who have heard such great anthems in all the cathedrals of the world, and in the cosmic cathedrals of the great white brotherhood, and in the great sanctuaries of heaven, say that this is a beautiful melody, think you, beloved hearts, that these melodies are not magnificent? Let this chorus be heard for you. There is no other way except you will it so. There is no other way except you call to us. We cannot come into your world unless we are invited to do so, and you must sustain this invitation. I am very sure that if you had a friend, and this friend invited you to their home, and then you passed into their door and then left, and then they did not invite you again, you perhaps too would be hesitant to go more than 3 or 4 or 5 times perhaps. Of course, this is true of us. Unless we are invited and welcomed into life streams, we do not continually interfere with the affairs of men. And this is what has happened in the whole realm of earth. The infinite Father gave dominion over the earth to mankind. And unless mankind invoke the presence, how then can perfection be sustained? No matter how great the love of cosmic beings is, remember, beloved hearts, you have free will. And free will is only free when it is used for God. There is in your midst one of you who has desired to cooperate greatly with the Father. I do not single out individuals in order to exalt them. You all, most all of you here desire to cooperate with the Father, otherwise you would not come. Nonetheless, this individual was given an inspiration many months ago and has devoted a great deal of time, energy, and even money to the production of a work in the name of God to help bring about a cosmic unity. Many times projects are brought forth of this nature and are not utilized by mankind. Oftentimes individuals do not realize the time and energy, or for some reason they do not fully appreciate the significance of various symbols which are produced. This is often true, and therefore there are many unsung heroes, many whose hearts are very great and they are lovely souls, yet they were never recorded in an earthly history. Beloved ones, their names are written in heaven. There is a reason why I would speak to you of this one particular project, and that is because of the fact that throughout the years many individuals have received and derived great comfort from rosaries. When I appeared to the holy children at Fatima, I held a rosary in my hand, and I also often have done so. Beloved children of the light, someone in your midst created a very lovely medal, a symbol of Christ unity. The idea behind it was to create a talisman which would produce a focus for the energies of the life stream and produce a consciousness of their unity with all of life. This particular medal, this symbol, this talisman, is very lovely in its simplicity. And because of its loveliness, I have decided and the hosts of heaven with me to endow it with our special blessing this day at this class. To assert your cosmic independence is ever so important, and therefore, to help assert your cosmic independence, beloved Prince Arameses, who spoke to you last evening, has agreed that each of you who shall wear one of these medals and shall treasure it and shall pour your love to God out as you wear it upon your person will be able to build up a momentum of the sacred fire even upon the talisman itself, so that an impregnation of the atoms and the atomic structure of this symbol will occur, and therefore it will serve as a focus for the light of your own God presence and Holy Christ self, helping you to realize your unity with one another and with the God presence of all. There is also a greater symbology here, for beloved Moria, and it is our intention to let the children of earth accept this temple. We will do our part. We have created it in all its pristine beauty, and it rests now in the etheric realm and still in the atmosphere of earth, and may be visited by you in sleep. It is very lovely. Someday its complete description will be known by you. Meanwhile, the externalization of this temple shall become your project. It shall be your energies, your time, your effort, and your substance which shall grace and hallow its walls. However, when it is completed, and all the days of its building, we shall oversee it with our love and radiation, until when it is complete, it will serve as a symbol to men from the heart of America that a great spiritual edifice can be raised here in America, dedicated to unity of faith rather than diversity. It is so easy for people to be diverse. Individuals have no trouble in being different. We do not expect individuals to come into absolute oneness in the sense that they will all be carbon copies, as it were, of one another. But we expect them to develop the God plan of their own life stream. Just as a fragile fire snowflake has a magnificent pattern, geometric and lovely, so each life stream has a wonderful, magnificent pattern and plan. It is up to each one of you to find this plan through meditation, through attunement, through devotion. I am sure that with my love that I am pouring out to you today, and the love that comes from beyond the years and will come through the years, you shall proceed, sometimes swiftly, sometimes slowly, until eventually you who run in this cosmic race will receive the prize, a crown of light as starry as my own, filled with God's radiance, God's love, God's light, His compassion, His comfort. Then you will find no difficulty, none whatsoever, in beholding the immaculate good in one another. And as you do this, you will not be expanding discord in one another, as so many have in the past. You will be expanding the virtues. Your hearts will be mangers into which the cosmic Christ may project first the tiny, small flame of the baby Christ, until he grow up and expand and become the man-child who shall dominate your life through your own free will, and you shall become one in the greatest, the most magnificent, the most lovely God concept of all creation, a man made in the image of God and in God's likeness. I am your cosmic mother. I am she who stood behind every one of your earthly mothers at your birth. I have held your hearts in my hands, and I helped to frame and form your sacred heart. Am I not then very close? Draw me closer. Come closer into my octave. No harm will come to you here. This is a gathering together in compassion, in love, whose light expands today throughout the world and touches the spires of men's spirits wherever they may be. I would today that I could wipe away the tears from the eyes of the many mothers of the world as they behold juvenile delinquency occurring so dangerously in many parts of the world. I would that a great cosmic radiance would surround all of these children until this human discord, this human concept which is presently being held, is transmuted into a heavenly light, bearing and retaining an immaculate concept for each little child. Each little child that you meet upon the street has a heart which I formed. All of you, each of you, are my own, and I am yours. With joy I give myself to the mankind of earth. I hold now for all the same immaculate concept which I held for Jesus, my beloved Son. As I take my leave of you now, I charge this place with a mother's radiance, with a call to my beloved Raphael. O Raphael, thou magnificent archangel friend, pour thy love and thy light through these hearts who have arrived in this one place for a solemn convocation of the Spirit. Pour thy great energies, thou mighty archangel, thou great focus of God, purity and love. Bring forth here a manifestation of love's new rebirth. Let the sacred fires and the sacred coal from the altar of heaven bring about, produce and sustain the same radiant halo or aura of light around each sacred head, not only in this audience but everywhere, which I beheld for so long around beloved Jesus, first as baby, as youth, as young man, and then as avatar and Son of God. May all soon manifest their great cosmic independence until they too join our ranks, and then our anthems can peal forth to others and others and others until eventually every child of earth is gathered home and to a mother's arms joy has returned. Meanwhile, around your hearts, around your homes, all around the world, people of the earth, venerate, love one another, be at peace. Instruments of destruction, thoughts of vengeance ought to be put away forever from the earth. Do this, and thou shalt live. These words are true, and 10,000 wars shall never purge the earth of war. Only through the power of the Prince of Peace shall wars cease and harmony reign once more in a golden age of such loveliness as most of you have but dreamed of. Dream on now, my precious hearts. Your dream shall be a reality. Much that is evil has passed away in the medieval times, in the evil days, so to speak, and the shadowed days of the Middle Ages. This too shall pass, and you shall come eventually to the feet of the Father. Then the Holy Family shall be complete. For as Jesus spoke, so do I. Father, I thank thee that none of them which thou gavest to me is lost. May all life, every sacred heart I have ever fashioned, be lifted up. Glorio in excelsis Deus. Glory to God in the highest. My spirit has rejoiced in God my Savior, for he has helped his handmaiden. He has helped his people to know and understand all which is real, and therefore they have come to him. Him who shall wipe away every tear from every eye, and shall fashion in every glance the supreme dominion over all the earth, the majesty which sits upon every brow as a sacred flame of light. I touch now the flame of life upon your brow. I magnetize upon your brow that sacred fire. May it flame up to life eternal, to your union with my heart. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Good afternoon.